You can build an entire life and still go missing inside it. The marriage, the kids, the job, the version of you everyone leans on. Then one morning you look up and cannot find the woman who started any of it. My guest today spends her days helping women find her again. Not the cleaned up version, but the real one. So let's get into it. So, welcome back to the Shifted Podcast. I am Amira. Grab whatever's in your glass, coffee, tea, something stronger, and let's toast to the long way back to yourself. So, Angel, what are you drinking today?
I have a shutter home.
Okay, what's that?
Can you see it?
Okay,
Just a little wine. Mm-hmm.
I love that. And what's one word that describes where you are right now today?
Present.
Okay, I like that. So, my guest today is Angel Dionne. So, she's a self love coach, a speaker, and the founder of Love Thine Self and Love Talk Media. She helps women come back to themselves after years of putting everyone else first. Her nonprofit starts even earlier with girls before the world teaches them to make themselves small, which I love that so much. We're not doing the soft version of self love today, so no affirmations taped to the bathroom mirror. We're talking about what it actually costs to lose yourself and what it actually takes to come back. Angel, welcome to the Shifted Podcast. This is our second one together.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited about today.
Awesome. So tell us who you are right now, like not in the bio, but the real answer.
So I am becoming, I am present, I am Angel first and foremost. I'm also a wife. I am a mother, but before a daughter, a sister, but before all that, I am Angel. I am becoming, and I'm just proud of myself.
I love that. There's usually a moment, I think, when a woman, I don't know if she realizes that she's gone missing from her own life, but she might sit and think, like, what am I actually doing? Like, what does that look like for you? Or is it a moment that you think, or do you think it's just compounding?
I honestly think that a lot of times as women, we have so many roles, we take on so many responsibilities, and we get lost in the sauce sometimes. And it's very easy for us to put ourselves on the back burner and not realize it until we're so far in it. And we're like, wait, who am I? What am I
Yeah.
doing? Why do I feel stressed? Why do I feel as though I'm drowned? A lot of women are drowning. And a lot of times it shows up in our surroundings, in our appearances. And a lot of times we don't even realize it. It takes us a moment to even know where we are.
You know what's funny? I had lunch today with a colleague and we were talking about, where we were. I've known her since we figured it out, I think 2009. And so we're in different places. She's been married again and has had a baby since then. And we were looking at pictures of ourselves from back then and, going forward, 5, 10, 15 years behind today. And it's funny looking at pictures. I think I've put them up in previous podcasts of myself where you wouldn't even recognize my face was so inflamed because I was so overwhelmed and stressed. And I don't think we realize what a toll it takes on your body until
Hmm.
you're out of it. And then you're like, oh my goodness, like I don't even recognize myself. And looking back, I don't remember being that way until I'm looking back and going, now I remember. And I remember what my mindset was at the time.
Hmm.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and I can relate to you when you say that. And for me, when I said in the beginning, I'm present because so many times I wasn't where my feet were. And I'm looking back at it, like you said, and it's just like, oh my goodness, for myself. I didn't like myself. I thought I was just so big and fat and things like that. But in reality, I wasn't. I was in the best shape of my life. I was
Yeah.
that girl. But for
Yeah.
me, as a self love coach, I didn't realize who I was back then. I didn't like myself. I didn't know who I was. And it can go both ways to where maybe we're in the best shape of our lives and we don't see ourselves as that, or we're so stressed and we're not the best version of ourselves because,
Yeah.
we're not really taking care of ourselves. So it really can go both ways. And I've been on both sides of that spectrum.
Yeah. How does it happen that we lose ourselves? I mean, I know you mentioned kids and stuff, but like, how does it happen where, you're a teenager and then whatever happens in life happens, but like, what is the thing that happens that makes us lose who we are?
I think a lot of times it's society, the roles that we are expected to uphold. We're taught to, make sure you take care of everybody else and you give yourself what is left. You're the last person to eat. You make sure the kids are good. You make sure your husband, the societal things. And we forget about ourselves. But really and truly, we're supposed to take care of self first. And then we pour and give from the overflow because you can't pour from an empty cup. And that's so cliche. We always hear you can't pour from an empty cup, but it's so true. And many of us
Yeah.
are pouring from an empty cup and we're stressed, we're overworked, we're underpaid. We just have so much on us and it's not healthy for us. It's really not. And I think we have to get to the point where we're teaching ourselves how to treat ourselves so that we can break those chains and cycles and generational curses that have been passed on to us so that we're not
Yeah.
continuously raising young girls that'll grow up to be women who are depleted because they're giving and not giving to themselves first.
And do you think, I mean, this is probably a little bit off topic, but when you talk about that with raising girls, do you think that we have, I don't want to say settled, but do you think that we have been in a situation where it's like you take what you can get or you take what is there and we don't put ourselves as high as we probably should, I think.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
until we're actually taught that that's what needs to happen, or you get older and you're like, you know what, we need to start doing that now. I reflect back on that a lot, like how I was when I was younger and the things that you accepted and the things that you didn't accept. And I just, I want to be able to teach girls differently also.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, we put ourselves second or last. And a lot I've noticed, and not in a judgment-free way, I've noticed that a lot of older women, they dealt with or settled. I'm using the word settled, but they settled for what it is they got. And as they got older, now they're like, wow, I let all this time go by and I'm not fulfilled. I haven't done the things that I want to do in life. I haven't become the woman that I want to be in life. And a lot of women think that maybe it's too late, but the truth is, it's never too late to
Yeah.
really find yourself, to develop the person that you want to be, no matter how old or young you are. And that's what I do. I teach young girls first how to develop that confidence, that self love, and those things. But even for women, when I speak to women and empower women, I teach them it's never too late. You're never too old. Maybe you did settle. Maybe you didn't have boundaries or you just accepted what was given to you because that's what you were taught. But it's
Yeah.
okay to acknowledge it, but let's create a solution moving forward because it's never too late to become the woman who you want to become.
I love that. I love that so much. And I think I'm a prime example. I mean, I've said this before. I'm 52 years old. And the things that I would have accepted when I was 20 years old or 30 years old, there's no way I would accept now. And it's funny. I was thinking about this morning. I don't even know what the situation was, but I remember thinking to myself, I just don't care. Like, and I don't mean it in a bad way, but I just don't care because it's not what brings me joy. It's not what makes me happy. And so if, it might have been a situation where like, what is somebody going to think of me? And
Mhm.
I really don't. Like, am I doing stuff online? Am I doing things in all these places? Do people think, whatever it is they think, it doesn't matter because at the end of the
Mhm.
day, you know, the girl I had lunch with today saying the same thing. Like, people can screenshot things and do whatever, and it's a blip in and out of somebody else's mind. We put way more focus on things than I think we should, and it affects the way we live our lives.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's something that I have to remind myself of daily. I told somebody not too long ago that I care. I care what people think. And I had to sit and talk to myself and it's like, okay, Angel, it's okay to care, but they can't control what you do. So stop basing what you're doing off of what you think somebody is going to think or say. And that's a daily practice for me because I was a people pleaser. I had the habit of people pleasing. I cared so much what people thought. I compared myself to other people, all
Yeah.
those things. So
Hmm.
now I have to constantly remind myself that this is your life. You're living for you. And even so much like going to parties or something when, we're in a generation now where people just don't dance. We just stand up and look at each other, because everybody's worrying about what the next person is going to think of them. And even in those situations, I have to remind myself, you came to have fun, move your body. It's okay. Don't worry about what people may think. And the truth is, nobody really cares. Like,
Yeah.
nobody is really thinking about you that much. Just have fun, live your life. You can't live your life based off of what you feel other people are going to think or say.
Now, you know what's funny? I'll give you a story. So when I was younger, it's funny, like, my office is in my house now. So when I was younger, I used to dance and people would always say I was like stiff because they would say that I couldn't dance, whatever. And I stopped dancing because people would laugh at me or say that, you dance like a white girl or you dance like this or you dance like that. And that would always get in my head and I was insecure. And now at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I have music on and I'm dancing by myself. My dog's looking at me like, "What is wrong with this woman?" But it's what makes me happy, and it's what brings me joy. I don't care. I feel like people think that you're supposed to dance a certain way or you're supposed to act a certain way. I'm gonna do what makes me happy, and if somebody wants to laugh or if somebody wants to do whatever, have at it. It says more about you than it does about me, but it took me a long time, a long, long time of
Yes.
unlearning to get there. Long, long time.
Mhm.
It's crazy.
Mel Robbins has the perfect saying, and I always say it. It's the let them theory. Let them. And then the second part of her theory is not just let them, but let me. And I've been living by that since I've heard it. That's just my motto as of now. Let them and let me.
I love that. So for the woman who suspects that she's lost herself, but she's not sure, what are signs? What might somebody say to you?
It's usually evident. You can usually tell when you've lost yourself or you just don't know who you are based on the first time for me is your environment. What does your environment look like? You can usually tell where you are mentally by your environment. What does your car look like? What does your room look like? What does your closet look like? How are you showing up? Are you combing your hair? Are you taking a shower? Are you putting on clothes? Are you putting on your makeup? What does your appearance look like? Those are usually telltale signs to know if you've lost yourself or you're on the brink of losing yourself because it shows up in how we present ourselves. That's usually the first sign. The second sign is usually that inner dialogue. What are you telling yourself? What are your thoughts that come to you naturally? And it can be good thoughts, bad thoughts, just what comes to you naturally. So I'll usually tell people have a moment to yourself and really assess what's going on with yourself. What are you thinking? Write down those thoughts. What is the first thoughts? I'll give you some of my thoughts. Sometimes my thoughts are, you need to lose weight, or I love my hair, or you're not doing a good job as a mother. Sometimes I feel like I am doing a good job as a mother. So those thoughts come naturally. So really take some time to listen to what's being told to you. Now, just because you're hearing it doesn't mean it's always true. I want to put that disclaimer out there. Because some of our thoughts are not our thoughts. That thought of me saying that I'm not a good mom, that's not a thought. I know I'm a good
Yeah,
mom, but those thoughts
yeah,
come, you know.
yeah,
So really just having a second to really assess what's going on as
yeah,
far as if you're in the process of losing yourself, acknowledge it. Acknowledge it. A lot of times we like to run from things or we like to not really admit to what's going on. I think that's really important to admit it so that then a solution can be found.
yeah, absolutely. So you frame self-love especially as refusing to betray yourself. So say more about that.
Yeah, it's my story. I didn't like myself. I didn't love myself. My parents divorced when I think I was 6 years old. So I grew up with both of my parents, but I was back and forth between mom, between dad. And I just didn't really like myself. From the outside looking in, I was shy, but then I was a bubbly person growing up in like grade school, high school. I was a bubbly person. I was captain of the cheerleading team in high school. I was Miss Edna Carr, which is like the miss of the
Mhm.
school, my senior year, all these things. And you would think I had it all together. But really and truly, when I was in my room by myself or when I was in my own thoughts, I was comparing myself to people. I talked so bad to myself. If you would have heard my thoughts, you'd have been like, this can't be the girl who we see that's the captain of the cheerleading team that's keeping everybody else happy, that's checking on everybody else. This can't be that girl. But
Yeah,
it was me. And for so long, I would just be like, what do I do? I don't like how this feels. And like I said, I heavily compare myself to people to the point I had to write on my mirror. This was before I even knew about affirmations and all of these things. I would write on my
yeah,
mirror, do not compare yourself to anyone, Angel. Don't compare. I just
okay,
kept writing that on my mirror because that voice of that comparison voice was so loud in my head. So I eventually just would feed myself positive affirmations and tell myself, okay, you are enough. I love you, Angel. I love you. I wasn't believing it, but I would tell myself these things because that loud negative voice was just so loud. When I was thinking about what people said about me, like, oh, I love her. She's this, she's that, versus what I was saying, I was like, okay, what's really true? So then I just started writing, hey, what are my good traits? What do I love about myself? Just those things to help me really find out who I was and what I love about myself. And I really got to this point of loving who I am as a woman. And that's why I said I'm becoming, because even though I came from so far, it's still a journey, because just because I learned how to cope with those thoughts that I still get the negative thoughts, but now I have tools to be able to really combat those thoughts, because I know I'm enough. I know I'm smart. I know I'm beautiful. I know all these things about me, and that has really helped me, and that's what I do now when it comes to helping young girls and helping women really love themselves and develop who they are.
It's funny, the affirmations because I do those now and I talk to myself. And it's funny how in the beginning how hard it is to do. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm not gonna keep doing this. Like I can't say stuff about this about myself like this. But then the more I go through, just during the day now, I'll be like, you know what? You're pretty cool. Like I like hanging out with you. And I'll just say it to myself, but it takes a long time because I
Mhm,
think for me, especially, I was conditioned, Gen Xer parents from the South, I was conditioned to think, you're quiet, you don't say anything, you don't do anything, you don't talk about yourself. Like all the things that I'm saying now about myself that are good, we were taught the opposite.
yes.
So, that's 50 years of unlearning a lot of different things. And I think that's why I do what I do too, because I want to teach people that it is okay. It is okay to talk good about yourself. It is okay to say that you're awesome. It is okay. I think a lot of it's probably self-therapy because I don't want a lot of people to feel the way I felt. So if I can help somebody else when they're younger to
Mhm.
not feel how I felt or feel as insecure as I did, maybe that's my own form of self-healing, you know?
Yes, and I feel when we do the work that we do, it heals that version of ourselves that we needed. For me, I turn my pain into purpose. So I'm now that person for someone like I needed for myself, and that
Mhm.
therapeutic for me, and it's helping me to really learn who I am and hug that little version, that little girl version of myself, because she's still there. And that's what I always tell people. Each version of yourself is still within you. That little broken, unconfident girl is still there. And I hug her daily. I tell her I love her. And sometimes she shows up. And then this version of myself is like nurturing her. No, you're okay. And I talk to myself a lot out loud. If somebody
Me
walks
too.
who is this lady talking to me? I'm talking to me. I'm talking to myself. I'm telling myself those, out loud. You're
Yeah.
good, Angel. It's gonna
Yep.
be okay. Because, like I said, I have those moments where I resort
Yeah.
back to that little girl version, and I have the tools now, and that's what I really, really, you know, I
Yeah.
give people tools because it's needed. It's needed.
Yeah. It's funny, go back on my Instagram page. One of my favorite things I did with AI was I made a picture of myself. My dad, it freaks him out to this day, but I put a picture of myself when I was, I don't know, 30 years old,
Mhm.
holding a picture of myself when I was like 5 years old. And it brings me to tears every single time I see it because I'm holding myself and just, saying that this is okay. And I love that picture. I actually might frame it and put it on my desk, but it's one of my favorite things that I've done with AI and it came out so good. I'll send it to you. Actually,
Yes, and
maybe I'll put it in the show notes too so people can see it. But so you built Love Talk Media on top of the coaching. So why media and what are you building toward?
so I really love to highlight authentic voices. I realize that I'm good at media. I'm good at connecting with people and talking to people. And sometimes I have the microphone in my hand, or sometimes I'm behind the camera. And I really know how to make people feel safe and make them want to open up and really just be comfortable with speaking about whatever it is we're speaking about. And I love storytelling. And I just love those things. And that's why Love Talk Media is there. And it's really broad. It has a lot of different avenues. It has the talk show. It
Hmm.
has me doing hosting, me
Love
doing
that.
storytelling, documentary, like creating documentaries for people. I
Yeah,
did a documentary on my grandparents.
I love that.
And I have people reaching out like, "Angel, I wanna do a documentary on my grandparents. Can you help me with this? Can you do this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I can," because I
Yeah,
really, really love just that
yeah.
aspect of storytelling and highlighting authentic voices and giving people that safe place to be able to really open up. So that's what I really love about the Love Talk Media side.
I love that. And you're good at it. You're really good at it. So
Yes.
as we end, so we always end with a journal prompt. I don't know if you remember we did it last time. Or you
Mhm.
might not have because it was your show and it was mine. But what I would say for a journal prompt for the two of us would be where in your life are you the last name on your own list? So pick one place and just ask yourself what it would actually cost to move yourself up a single spot. And then I want you to write it down. So that's my journal prompt for the day. You got anything that you want to have somebody journal about?
Yes. I love that journal prompt, by the way, and I'm definitely gonna
Thank you.
do that. A journal prompt that I can propose to someone is, when is the last time that you really sat down with yourself and told yourself how much you love yourself? So really sit down with yourself and ask yourself, or this is an even better one, ask yourself what you love about yourself. Write 5 things you love about yourself.
Okay. Oh, 5.
5.
I was like, I can write 1.
Yes. And you know what? It's usually so much easier to write the things we dislike about ourselves. So, but it's, I think writing what we love about ourselves will really help us to change our mindset to be able to, really tap into the things that we love about ourselves.
I love that. And so
Mhm.
we've got info on you in our show notes, but you're doing one-to-one coaching, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Anything you wanna mention about that?
Yeah, so I definitely offer many programs that can help you on your journey of self love, self discovery, becoming all the great things. You can definitely check that out at angeldionne.com and connect with me. I would love to, do one on one coaching to help you on your journey. It's definitely worth it, it's needed. And I am here to support you in any way possible.
I love that. Thank you. So, quick thing before we go. So, this show keeps growing because women keep raising their hands. So, a while ago, I put out a call on threads and it's been an awesome thing, but the stories just started coming in. It was different women, different shifts, but they all had the same kind of honesty. And for me, like that kind of thing, probably like you too, it's just so cool getting to meet all these different women with all these different stories. So, if you've been sitting on your story waiting for a reason to tell it, this is the reason. Find me on threads. You can find me on all my links will be below. I've got so many of them, it's ridiculous. But I think that's important. So, as always, no neat wrap up here. Just another week, another layer. I'll be here until next time. Angel, thank you so much. It was so good to see you again. We're going to have to do this like every 6 months, just get together again and check in and see where everybody's doing.
We do. And thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.